There are so many words to explain the recent tweet that Bungie just posted. I just put a lot of it, some of the segments on my community post if you want to check them out. But overall, there was massive changes with this twid, and it's just crazy to see Bungie making them. Even though we're at the final stage of the saga, a lot of these changes really changes how gameplay and the power grind will be in this game going forward. For how I don't know how many years Destiny's still gonna be out for, but still, it does change a lot of the grind for the next future or the next saga, whatever Bungie does for Destiny 2. Now, looking at that, we have a lot of stuff to cover. One of the major things that I wanted to cover first is this new gameplay feature that you probably saw with the last Final Shape showcase, which was back in August, of Fireteam Power. It's easy to be forgettable because a lot of people weren't really looking at that at the time, but looking at Fireteam Power, it got a lot of new info with this recent twid. One of the biggest things with this recent twid is that there will be a Fireteam leader now in your Fireteam, whoever has the highest power level. All the remaining Fireteam members will be bumped up to that power level 5 off from it. So if a person was 2,000 in your Fireteam as the Fireteam leader, everyone else would be bumped up to around 1,995, around a 5 scale difference from that power level leader. And looking at that, a lot of old weaponry that was sunset back and beyond light that a lot of people were pissed off about is now viable again. Because now, with weapons no longer having their said power level have any huge impact now due to the Fireteam Power quality of life change, you could be rocking the old Mountaintop and Old Recluse if you deem so, and not just use it in the Crucible. If you wanted to do a Master Law Sector, pray tell, with your good friend of yours that officially came back to the game, and he's now at like 1,960, and you wanted to play with him, you guys can, and you guys will only be around 1955, around that set power level, and you can do those activities. Even in ritual, like activities like ritual nightfalls or crucible or gamut matches or trials, for Christ's sake. And even though Bungie explicitly acknowledges that a lot of those sunset gear may have been dismantled, like you probably dismantle that gear from like the Red War, Forsaken, or Shadowkeep. Yeah, I did too. I know it's a really big sad moment for all those people. Rest in peace for all those weapons. Bungie did state that there will return some of the old weapons and to new sources with a huge change in their random rolls. So they will be getting a lot of random roll changes to a lot of those old weapons, and that those weapons will be viable and have new sources to obtain them if you dismantle them. So looking at that all around, we officially have all the sunset weapons now being viable again if you're with a group of people, which is crazy. There was a lot of amazing weapons back in the day that got sunset, and it's a real pain in the ass to, go and grab them again. But it does change a little bit of how I'm feeling because they just returned, Mountaintop, Recluse, Hammerhead, and now you can still use the sunset versions of them now because of this Fireteam Power type quality of life change. It's definitely a bit of an iffy situation, but it's something that Bungie has just now done. So it's a very interesting, quality of life change for a lot of weapons if they haven't been returned yet. I don't know about spare rations or a lot of the weapons from the Red War that may haven't come back yet. But if they were not returned yet, you can still use the sunset versions. Now, there's a lot of other things. One of the major other things that I thought was really exciting, because, guys, I'm a Titan main. I don't play my Warlock. I think Warlocks are just not my class to play, and they kind of, they might not be viable all the time. Sorry, Well of Radiance is just, it's so annoying now. I shouldn't be saying that. A lot of my Warlock friends would get pissed at me. But you will now have this new thing called account-wide power. So basically, if I was a Titan, because Titans are the best class at all in the whole game, if I was a Titan and I received, let's for example, a 1,900 power level piece of a class item or something, right? Pretend that. And my power level was being bumped up for my Titan. If I was a Warlock or Hunter now, a lot of the drops for that said, armor piece or whatever would now be bumped up because of this new account-wide power level. And not all power level will be entirely affected, but the fun thing is, though, if you only play one character, as Bungie, acknowledged, a lot of us primarily play on one class, you will now get drops on your other two classes if you have them, and those will help, make it so you can be able to play all 3 classes if you don't have time to play all 1, and if you want to try the new subclasses and all that. So it's a very interesting little change there, and the good thing also too is that power bonuses will be removed. If you go to your character screen, and if you were playing on your Titan and Warlock and you saw that power, icon next to your hunter that was saying, hey, give Bungie some silver and you will get your class to that power level, that will officially be removed. The only thing now will be a campaign boost if you want to skip the campaign, and I don't know if they're going to be able to give you prismatic if that is the case now. If you skip the campaign, because last year the campaign boost for Lightfall would give you Strand. If that is the case, wow, people can literally get prismatic if they pay money. But what I do know is that there will be a campaign boost, and I don't know when they'll actually start putting that out. I don't know if it's a couple weeks after Final Shape launch. It's probably after the raid and all that, but that will also be coming. Bungie will be making some new huge UI changes for some of the activities, like, contest mode, Nightfalls, Grandmasters, a lot of the higher endgame activities that will show that power is still enabled, and they will have these new icons showing, okay, you should reach this set power level. It says on their TWAB for a Nightfall you have to be around 1940 or so for the first difficulty, and it will have like an icon saying be ready, prepare your loadouts, and if you hit that 1940 power level. So there will be more helpful recommendations on the UI telling you should be at this power level or not to play this set activity, which is really cool because I didn't know Bungie would actually do that, but it helps a lot of the new players if they're wondering, what power level I should be. I believe Grandmasters are going to be like 2020, which is crazy, 2020, and then contest mode obviously being stagnant at the 1960 spot is the max you can get on those activities. So going forward, I think it's other than those two, a lot of the other ones are just below 2020. There will be like 2005, and apparently I think Legend is now being renamed to Expert, which is a cool, interesting name. I don't know why you would change it, but I think it's now being Expert is now going to be the new name for it, which is, again, pretty cool, but, that's what it is. Looking at all that, there's a lot of changes Bungie will be implementing with this, new quality of life changes, and it definitely changes the grind a little bit because, we've been in this model for so long, and looking at that to change it all entirely is, again, pretty crazy. But Bungie deems it that we are officially going to get a lot of these new power level changes. And yeah, that's really what Bungie has been, working on. Again, looking at all the power brands, because this is what a new thing is that now that Bungie is with the Final Shape, they're going to remove the barrier to entry. So in the Final Shape, the soft cap will only require 40 power to reach from the usual 150, which again was pretty crazy. So the power floor for the Final Shape will be 1,900 will be the power floor. The soft cap will be 1940. The powerful gap will be 1990, and then the hard cap pinnacle gap will be 2,000. So looking at all that together, it is definitely a bit interesting because it's, again, we were having a lot of discussions all this last couple of years if they were going to remove power level. Now they're officially not going to do that, and they're going to enhance it. Some other things that I want to talk about is that anywhere now, instead of just the ritual activities, because I know people play ritual activities to get that said, power level reward or whatever, now a lot of activities will be able to award that said power level activity. So if how every time you have to probably do a Nightfall, Ritual Playlist, Gambit, Crucible to get that like powerful challenge, exotic, Prime Engram, whatever the power award structure has been in the last couple of years, I don't remember. But you usually play the ritual activities to grind, right? Now Bungie is implementing that all activities will now be able to give you, that higher drop. No matter where you play, what you play, those activities will help you reach the powerful gap in no time. So you will get a reward in any source in Destiny 2 officially going now, which is, again, pretty crazy because those drops will be a +1 power, and now going from that, if you want to reach that, raid ready or, stuff like that, you need to get ready to power level up that way. So any activity will help you play. Some other cool things are that artifact power will be remaining the same, but they're rebalancing some things, which is interesting. They are going to have some new changes as we, navigate to the Final Shape that they'll release to us. A lot of some interesting things is that there will be additional time within episodes now, and they have increased the weeks of seasonal challenges and also receiving a buff to their XP rewards. They're making some huge adjustments to the XP requirements for artifact bonus power levels, and they will be rebalancing that as we achieve by the end of an episode and all that type of stuff. So it's definitely interesting there. So again, cool stuff. The last thing I want to round up for today's video is that Bungie will be now implementing this new change where, if you wanted to get like an exotic in your collections, you would have to get it and then it would be at like 1600 or something like that. Now Bungie's implementing where it's only going to be lowered by like 10 or 20 power level. It won't be all the way down at the power floor. So you will not be too far off. If you picked up like a Thorn, you don't need to always infuse it because it will be very close to your power level already. Also interesting is that a lot of the materials and rewards built from the vendors, if you're collecting something, will only be as far as 3 lower than your power level. It will not be lower than that if you pick up a reward from like the collections, or if you pick up a reward from the Cryptarch or the Gunsmith or anything like that. It will be only down by -3. So it's pretty cool there. If you were picking up a reward from Shaxx, which wasn't like a powerful reward, it would only be less than 3. And again, if it was a powerful or prime award or a pinnacle award, it would already be higher anyway. But that really brings up the end to this video. I hope you guys enjoy, but there's a lot of these new power level grind changes happening in the final shape, and I just want to make a quick video about it because it definitely changes a lot of the old structure with now sunsetting, now actually being dead, and the weapons being viable, with tons of changes to difficulty, tons of changes happening to accounts entirely. This is pretty crazy. Just wanted to make a video on it. Hope you guys subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.